Babes, so I'm going to do a bit of a, got another smorgasbord of bits and pieces, see what happens. I'm going to check out Crystal, Animal, Jim Morrison poem, Colour, Charm, Zebra symbol, cards. Just gonna like go for it and see what comes through. When I was just setting up the malachite, it was popping out at me. The green has been popping out to me this week actually, like the really dark green jade, or the green in general, like even the sage green, like green calcite. Yeah, like all the greens kind of popping out to me right now. But the malachite was like the strongest. So I'll see if that's in the book and check that out. I'll do that first and we'll go from there. So as far as I know, malachite is quite a strong crystal, very like powerful connection, really need to open your mind type thing. We'll see if it's in here and see what it says. A lot of my jade has really been big for me this week. I've got some dark jade and I've got some light jade, but both of them have been just like calling to me. Yep, so 189. $198 is mohawkite. Mohawk has come through today for me, so $189. Alright, so malachite itself is not in here, but malacola is, which is green and turquoise. Malacola synergizes the energetic properties of malachite and chrysocolla into a powerful stone of communication, especially of what has been hidden. An excellent detoxifier on all levels. It regenerates the whole chakra and meridian systems of the physical and subtle bodies. This stone helps you stand in your power and can be gridded in areas of environmental unrest. Malacola may assist spasms, infections, blood disorders, and blood sugar balance. I think it's pretty cool actually, with the dark green and the bright turquoise there. On the other page we've got the Magdalena stone, which is clear with black, silver and gold. That one, it's also known as witch's finger, Magdalena. Magical and mystical, Magdalena stone is highly effective for shamanic journeying or earth healing, containing smoky quartz, tourmaline chloride, and amphibians were coming through to me today. So, it has a profound cleansing effect for the soul, supple and physical bodies, clearing away all that is outgrown, rejected, or diseased, replacing it with the spiritual light of all that is, connecting to the sacred Magdalene archetype, companion to Christ. It brings the soul into balance. The witch's finger. Righty-o. So we've got communication of things that have been hidden. Regenerating. And then we've got shamanic journeying and healing. And obviously Magdalene is the feminine. And connecting to the all. Right, okay. And detoxifying. Okay. Alright, so that's a start. Green in itself is prosperity, abundance, money, physical and emotional healing, growth, luck, marriage, like earth magic, acceptance, weather, counteract, envy, greed, jealousy. I think I'm getting like, it's like Malachite's kind of like an activator for your spiritual awakening type thing as well. Like it assists you to, assist you to with your healing and connecting and like to all that is, and the guidance associated with that. I'm getting like Metatron, it connects you with the guides that you are needing in order to process what you need to process. Yeah. Alright, so I just roll the dice. It can be an angel number, but I'll use it to grab a page for the animal, and we'll see if we can do the same page for a poem from Jim. 334 or 433. I don't know how many pages are in here. 334. Scrub that far. Not quite. Try again. 166. Koala. Journeys. The closest relative to wombat, koala spends much of his time high in the canopy of eucalyptus forest, only coming down to move from one tree to another. The koala will wedge his rump into a forked branch and sleep up to 18 hours a day. Koala is a marsupial mammal, meaning the female suckles her single young while carrying it in a pouch. Koala obtains most of the moisture he needs from eucalyptus leaves, which are said to have a soporific, hypnotic, sleep-inducing effect on the animal, and as a result, koala rarely needs to drink fresh water. Koala is often called a koala bear, a name afforded him by his outwardly cute, cuddly appearance. Not only is koala totally unrelated to bears, a wild koala will cause serious bodily harm to anyone silly enough to cuddle one. Revered and honoured by the Indigenous people of Australia because of an ancestral promise made during the dream time, koala is seen as the bringer of plentiful water, the protector of lakes, and the caretaker of flowing streams and rivers. As a way of acknowledging its familial associations with water, koala is recognised as a traditional custodian of the West on the wheel of life. By tradition, the teachings of the West prompt us to seek and trust answers found deep within our own inner knowing before considering the advice given by others. He embodies the ancient symbolic links made between water and human spectrum of emotions. It's so funny. I've literally been thinking heaps about that just the last couple of days. Koala endorses the wisdom found in speaking less while encouraging us to listen more. Koala fosters the notion that as spiritual beings we inherently know the answers to all of our questions, with the knowledge we seek stored deep within our consciousness. Koala demonstrates the sacredness of the healing journey we must take in our personal quest for answers and embraces the inner journey to the core of the deepest self. To journey with koala is to quest for the ancient knowledge and spiritual awakening stored inherently within our consciousness. According to the ancient philosophies of many earth-based healing traditions, the most effective path we can take in our quest for emotional, physical, or spiritual stability involves first delivering ourselves into an altered state of consciousness. This is usually obtained via the ingestion of selective organic hallucinogens or by denying the body of nourishment for prolonged periods of time. To witness koala in the wild will find you observing him in one of two states: awake, feeding and tending to his young, or dozing in a fetal position. It is believed that via the altered state of awareness the animal slips into after ingesting. I can't help to comment on this. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'll get into it after I'll finish reading. It is believed that via the altered state of awareness the animal slips into after ingesting the eucalyptus leaves. Koala is able to enter other realms of reality. Once there, it is thought that koala gathers knowledge and is able to perform healing in ways not considered physically possible in the tangible world. Koala equips us to move beyond the physical restraints of our physical body and to travel to the inner realms. Koala embraces the sensation we experience when we start to shift into a healing state of consciousness and begin to feel energy moving through our body from a healing space. Our conscious mind relaxes and becomes gradually less active. Our mind moves from a dynamic mental state into a relaxed space that allows us to respond intuitively. Our breathing becomes deeper and we shift into a new profound state of being. Koala assures us that we already know the answers to the questions we seek assistance with. He tells us that now is the time to start taking notice of our inner self, our innate connection to all the information of the universe. Koala asks us to stop looking to others for cooperation, advice and wisdom, to take responsibility for our own life, our own path and our own destiny. Koala says that we must start our own journey, a quest that will unlock the answers we seek from a place hidden deep within our essence, and the journey must begin today. It must begin now. When we journey with koala, our potential for growth and transformation strengthens and our sense of self escalates. You just have to first take responsibility for your own healing and trust that all will evolve as it is meant to. This shit. Where did that come from? Oh, out of the book. There's the green. Springtime. So the crazy thing about that, I mean, obviously what that was saying is pretty much what my mission is and what I've been saying. It's me as like, but the funny thing is like like ex partner, who I consider my twin flame, like called me his koala bear. So koala koala was like a nickname type thing, and the fact that that came up, and it talks about the hallucinogenic experience, which is what I'm saying happened to me, as how I've awakened. And tonight, I mean, this is the second time I've started this video. The first time I had to stop and I had to sort something out, and the Jim Morrison poetry book, the idea came up to try to channel Jim today, but it just like popped into my head again after when I was fiddling around. And so I brought over Jim Morrison's book, and I mean, we all know that Jim was a psychic, you know, he explored his consciousness through psychedelics, and was extremely forward in his opinions of that. He is a true artist, and I resonate deeply with him. Yeah, and this is yeah. So this whole thing really resonates with me and my like mission, my connections, and it just blows my mind when this stuff happens, and all the connections and in between. You know, I was getting really frustrated again, and today, and you know, it's just so beautiful how the synchronicities and the messages come as reminders and and you know, inspiration and little boons and teaching, and like you know, little things just to remind you how amazing and how lucky we are to be on this journey, and to be woke, to be awakened, and to be constantly receiving guidance and assistance and reassurance that we're on the right path. Koala is now my mascot, for absolutely, you know, for sure. Like everything in there is just, you know, what I absolutely believe in. You know, especially for people like me, the creatives, like, we seem to have less fear, and we more easily process the shame or opinions around that sort of thing, where we're much more, really, I think, when it comes down to it, we're more logical. All the bullshit surrounding it, the opinions of everyone else, doesn't bother us as much as anyone else. So we're much more open to trying these things. And you know, if you're a creative, you've experimented with many different things. It's what we do. We're creative, and we're experimental, and we're open-minded and open-hearted. So we'll give anything a go and see what we feel about it. We're not going to say no to something unless it's a hell no for us, you know, like without understanding it or trying it for ourselves type thing. And you know, for anyone that has be, you know, experience psychedelics and all this, absolutely know the benefits of it. It's crazy, and you know, you just wouldn't believe the level of extension of self, like how quickly you can climb the ladder of conscious evolution. And that's what we're here for. So it's a no-brainer. But you know, that goes hand in hand with processing all the conditioning and everything, all the bullshit surrounding it, and dealing and processing your shadow at the same time. It's not all freaking party games, but it is like you've just got on the lift instead of having to climb up, you know, like the never-ending ladder. The psychedelics, you're on a lift, or you know, one of those speed trains in Japan. Yeah, I mean, you got to be prepared for that experience. Ready to give it a freaking go. Like it's like bungee jumping. Type thing. But you know, how many people are out there are going to give bungee jumping a shot? You work yourself up to it and you say, yeah, I'm going to try it. But you know, bungee jumping is just psychedelics actually they bring more you to you. They make more of your life. Like, anyway, I can talk about, like, I just don't know why everyone's not doing it on a regular basis. You know, if it was up to me, it would be put into the water supply like once a month or something like that. You know, just microdose the entire population. Oh boy, it would get, things would be so much more fun. And, you know, people would really work their shit out and everything. So, I've just put a bunch of, like, this kind of pink colour. Like a musky pink was really standing out to me this way, like a rose pink. So I grabbed a whole bunch of my little paint swatches of the pinky nature and I put them in here. So I'll just grab a few out. We got pink parakeet, English rose, and splendid coral, and aroma. Pink parakeet's a little bit purple. Parakeet is like, it's like another name for Rosella, right? So Rosella has been a big synchronicity for me, the 28s. So every time I see, you know, Rosella 28, probably because, you know, the name Rose and Ella is like, L is like angel, La is like la la la. So every time I see the 28s, it's kind of a synchronicity for me, as well as like any birds now, because I feel a massive connection to the our bird family. That, I don't know, I listened to a video the other day. It was like the carrion the blue avians. I don't think they're all blue, but you know, the avian nation. So we've got aroma, which is a scent, splendid scents, angel rose, English rose, splendid coral. I mean, coral would be, I mean, I'm immediately getting the link to the, like the Mintaka, like the mermaid, my mermaid star family. I'll tell you what, because I've been swimming heaps lately, because my mum's got a pool. And I am just like freaking, I feel like I'm turning into a mermaid. I'm loving being in the water. And every time I get in, I just feel really connected to it. And it's really beautiful. English rose, I mean, that kind of brings up the idea of Diana and kind of like how she was hounded so badly for just trying to be her. Like she never, you know, even though she was kind of pretty much brought up to be, you know, a princess and be that role, she never gave up her spirit. She never backed down. She you know what I mean? Like she kept her spirit through all of it, and you know, did not cower down to the pressures of the royal family, which was, you know, ridiculous. You know, and to the point that, you know, she was hounded so much that, you know, it pretty much ended up causing her death or whatever. But that kind of strength and the dignity she held, you know, along the way. She didn't resort to bad mouthing anyone. She had the what's the word, the integrity. She held her to her integrity no matter what anyone else said about her. And I think yeah, and yeah, I'm just getting like that power, that power of the feminine, how, you know, that's been such a, I'm getting kind of the image of like the red cape for a bull, for the people that would like to keep the, you know, the powerful woman in her place type thing, like anyone really, anyone standing up and to that level of not bowing down to the authority when they know it is not right type thing, and how much shit you have to cop when that happens, and staying true to yourself in a really honest and integral, like integrity, pure natured way in the midst of that bombardment of shit being thrown at you, is a pure pure natured being, and certainly not not an easy task to accomplish. Certainly it's not easy, but that is authenticity. That is true, a pure heart being authentic in the midst of shit. Yeah. Okay. I've caught the charms. So I'm just going to try and get 3. 1, 2, 3. Oh, we've got the lollipop, or the lolly, with the little spiral pattern on it. We've got little kind of little brass metal thing, which I see as a bridge, and a crystal. Not exactly sure what kind of crystal that is. I can't remember. I'm getting sunstone in my head, but I'm not positive, but that's what I'm receiving. That's what popped into my head. So it's got these waves going through it. So it's not like a clear crystal. It's but they're almost kind of pinky waves actually going through it. And the lollipop, it's got a pink swirl. So pink, love, compassion, nurturing, femininity. Yes, it is that Princess Diana, pure feminine, kind of Kuan Yin, Lady Nada. I'm getting yeah. And the cycle's coming back, yeah, as that cycle's changing of the bullshit that, the feminine has had to deal with. That's what I'm getting, the change of the cycles, and the bridge, like we're building a bridge. Or we're crossing the bridge from that old time to the new time. It's like kind of like my last poem. I wrote that, those times are done and we're moving into the new times where, the sacredness, the divinity of the divine feminine, will be cherished and nurtured rather than hammered down. Yeah. There's some pink coral has just popped out at me. This is kind of like the colour that is, I don't know if you can see that very well, but very similar colour to that, the musky pink, and yeah, it's a pink coral. I've got a blue coral as well, but I'm not sure what the pink coral means, but I'm assuming it's very much that kind of getting in touch with your heart and your emotions. Feeling clearly, or clearly feeling so you can see clearly. Like we can't see clearly unless we first tap in to what we're feeling, like really feeling like at the root, you know. You know how like our feelings have levels to it, you know. So you've got to kind of process the upper ones to get to the root of feels of what's going on, and then in order to be able to think clearly about where you're at, you know, type thing. If we're only feeling surface level and reacting surface level, thinking surface level, we're not being true to ourselves or the situation. We're not seeing the situation clearly. We're not feeling the situation clearly. So it does take a lot of guts and a lot of heart and a lot of surrender and acceptance in order to allow yourself to really see what's underneath all the surface emotions. Okay. Oh, I'm just seeing that there's a couple of other little charms popped out. We've got the like little lightning bolt with a love heart. We're on the love timeline, and also a nice little chunk of raw amethyst. So amethyst is great for communication. Spirituality, connection to higher self, goddess, insight, clarity. Stop gossip, lies, dignity, divination, meditation, ambition, overcome depression, knowledge, intuition, wisdom, influence, spiritual power, contact with spirits, change luck, independence, break habit. And amethyst, I relate amethyst to Saint Germain, you know, the violet flame. So yeah, every time I want, you know, that assistance to rise above the surface emotions or dive deep further. For me, it feels like to rise above the surface emotions, whatever that means, but yeah, to not get swallowed by them like they're muddy water and they want to suck you in like quicksand. They're like, the surface emotions are like quicksand, and it's a struggle to get yourself out, but once you're out, it's the rest, you know, the rest of the emotions are just like you're flying, you know. But if you start to get sucked into those quicksand emotions, it feels like you're freaking, I mean, it is like that, right? When you're kind of going down drain type, the spiral of shit, stuck in a soul-sucking pattern of emotion or thought, thinking loops. It is like you're in quicksand and you literally cannot drag yourself out. But as soon as you do, you feel so much freer. It's crazy. And that, I mean, when you really think about that, like the difference of what you feel how dense that is, being sucked into the quicksand compared to pretty much having wings and being able to fly wherever you want, being free, or being sucked into quicksand. You know, like, what would you rather? And yeah, the only thing that gets us out of the quicksand is like the power of our own mind and the choice. The choice to release the quicksand. You know, once you realize that it's you that is actually holding on to the quicksand, you know, a part of you. And then, you know, you got to realize that every time you're in the quicksand, you've chosen to be there. And that's the kicker. But yeah, like we practice and practicing that muscle of that realization and choosing to fly rather than sink in quicksand. You know, each time you choose to fly, you know, it gets easier each time to remember, you know, why am I choosing to freaking dive into the quicksand? I do not need to be here. It's my choice to get out. Why am I staying? And, you know, every time you look at it and decide and realize, you know, that it is your choice which direction you go, it gets easier each time. It really does. And I think, you know, Saint Germain and the Violet Flame is very much a tool, an energy, a guide, you know, to enable you, like to remind you, you know, which way do you want to go. And there's so many different ways and so much assistance. Like whatever you resonate with, like just find a technique each time. Find a technique that works for you, you know, to get yourself out of the quicksand quicker each time, quicker until, you know, you get to the point where it's more like you're just running over the top. Like, you know, maybe it's hot coals. Like if you're just looking at it like it's a massive pool of lava, you know, and you're gonna melt, or you look at it like it's hot coals and you just run across it. No big deal. Done really quick. Over and done. Yeah, and you're not sinking into the, you know, lava, coal, quicksand. You're just run across the top, and then you start flying again. Yeah, so yeah, the power of our mind, and to remind ourselves each time that it is our choice on how we view anything and how to get ourselves out of these little quicksand moments, whether they're moments or hours or days or weeks. Yeah. No one else. You know, we've literally got to train ourselves to build those muscles in each time. There's nothing wrong with this. Everyone has them, but no one else can help you get out of your quicksand, and we all have to come up with ways to get ourselves out of the quicksand. Obviously, when I say no one else can help you, we all have our guides, and there is this connection this higher connection that we all have available to us. And when you connect with that, everything is that much easier, and they're always there to help, you know. But, you know, as well, like, some people don't resonate with that kind of thing, even though they're still getting guidance and thoughts being put into their head and all that kind of stuff, whether they agree with it or not. But it's up to all of us to come up with the techniques and thoughts and ideas and, you know, our spiritual life or our mental techniques that we use to assist us when we're getting bogged down, and to retrain our brain and get in touch with our heart, and, you know, all that kind of things to help ourselves in the moment. And, you know, really the biggest change you can make for your life is being able to make the decision in that moment when you first feel that quicksand sucking at your feet, to make the decision then before getting sucked down. Like, once you get to that point, your life changes drastically. So, like, you know, don't accept the quicksand as your reality. It's not. You don't have to accept that. As with anything, it does take work, but really, I mean, it does sound trite, because I remember hearing this, you know, it's just a choice. It's just a choice. Just choose what to feel. And I used to think, fuck that. What the fuck are they talking about? That's bullshit. Yeah. But when it happened, when it really happened for me, when it really mattered to me, and I finally made that, you know, in the moment, that one big choice, saying, I'm not getting sucked into this same old quicksand again. No. Everything changed for me at that point, when I said no, that I would not get sucked in again. And yeah, then I had to start learning a whole new bunch of things to it is like the quicksand was my life, and I knew what that experience was. I knew how to handle that and process it. It was a shit existence, you know, dealing with those anxious attachment type feelings all the time, and stress and anxiety and all that. But it's that kind of everyday kind of stuff that you just get used to. But it's that getting used to. And then when I got to this point of saying, no, I don't want to feel like that anymore, no. And like, that worked. I broke a pattern in that moment. And so I was out of the quicksand, but then I had all these, I had to deal with a whole new reality of the same kind of experience. So, but I was lighter, you know, I wasn't in the quicksand. So it was that much easier, but I was still I had to then, you know, I was out of the kind of muck, but I had to process the idea of the muck, if that makes sense. And so the experience of the muck was finished, but I had yet to deal with, you know, for me to actually walk past and move on from the quicksand, I had to look at it and I had to see what I've been doing, and I had to, you know, understand all the feelings that was coming up of being strong enough to say no to the quicksand, like, because that's all I've ever known, and to walk away from the quicksand, because I didn't know anything else other than, so I, like, the scary factor of, you know, it felt really empowering getting myself out of the quicksand, but I'd been in there and doing that for so long, I didn't know any of this other stuff, like what's next, you know, like there was all this, you know, fear, and you still have to process all that stuff. But like I said, you're a million times lighter, so it's a million times easier and quicker once you're out. And no one can just tell you to do that. This is the thing, like with me, I read all the books, and the amount of times I heard in so many different ways this kind of idea of it's your choice whether you stay in that emotion or you get yourself out. It's your choice. And I was like, I get what you're saying, but fuck, what? When you're in it, how can you get yourself out? Because it's all so you just become it. How can you stop when you're in it? And you know, it didn't happen for me until I had enough, and that happens for everyone. So it happens when you've had enough, I think. When you know, you've built up yourself up enough to realize that you're worth more than the quicksand, and it's your responsibility to save yourself like no one else can. And like at that point where you've had the enough realization to realize your life is your responsibility. It's you. It's on you. And no one else can do it for you. So you need to choose what you want your life to be like. So once you've got enough of that going on inside you, and something happens, you know, something happens where it's just that final straw where you're like, yeah, nah, I just can't go down that road again, and I choose a different path for myself. Like, it is about building yourself up enough in order to, at some point when it's the right for you, you have enough guts and grit and resiliency built up inside you to make that decision at that point, right on that spot, before sinking in. And as soon as you do that and you realize that it's possible, then you can do it so much easier each and every time after. Like, it just takes that one time of you getting yourself out of the quicksand, stopping yourself from going in the quicksand, getting yourself out. Like, as soon as you realize that you can do it, the switch has been flipped, and you know that you can continually do it, and then you're doing it in every area of your life, not just that one instance in that, you know, one situation that really catalyzed that first escape from the quicksand. But it's that first escape that gives you the realization that you're able to escape. And then each time after, when something happens and you're like, do I choose this? Am I choosing the quicksand again? No, I don't need to choose the quicksand. I'm out. And I'm not going back in. And then like each time you do it, you just build up yourself stronger and stronger each time, and that's how you grow your wings each time. And then your feet aren't touching the ground. The quicksand, you know, at some point you start flying and you're not touching. The quicksand doesn't have a chance, you know, it's bubbling up at you. It tries to grab you, but you know, yeah, it's just not happening anymore. Or you know, you just kick it away. It's just that much easier to escape the quicksand. I can't believe I've been talking for an hour already. Alright, so I'm gonna see what Jim has to say. Random page or 166. Random page we'll go for. It's one of his handwritten ones. See if I can read it. He's got that artistic handwriting. A scrawl. Mount Road to the picnic. Fossils. Enlisted men. Drunk. Their wives and babies. Sweating in amber. Red-faced Buddhas. The sad whistle rocket. No explosion. Comes east. Speed of sound. Bombs. 4th of July. 4 teenagers, hand in hand, a closed circle, eyes closed, heads bowed by the side of the road, car wreck. Later by the pool, we heard the news on the radio. His poetry is just like mind-blowing all over the show. I mean, I bet it made sense to him because I know some of my poetry is just like all over the show, but it completely makes sense to me the way it comes through, and the connections it has. Yeah. So Amber is popping out to me because I've been working with Amber in my painting and making jewelry. Fossils as well, because that reminds me of the coral, like the coral stone gems that I've got. Red-faced Buddhas. Reminds me of that song. What's that song? Make a crow blush. Because, you know, like in my last poem, yeah, I've been talking to my guides and like how Thoth and I throw our banter around kind of makes me blush a little bit, and I can imagine Buddha would be up there blushing as well if he is, you know, one of my guides. Which, you know, like, this is the thing, like I'm getting the feeling, this almost the vision feeling that they're giggling, like if you only knew, like all our uptightness around this stuff, you know, especially the beauty of humor and wit and sexuality, sensuality, like the joys and pleasures of actually being embodied in the flesh. Like it's a beautiful thing to combine the mind, heart and body and express it in a dance, whether in a dance of bodies, in a dance of words, in a dance a sexual dance, like dance of words, flirting, the dance of masculine and feminine combined of mind and heart and body. My God, it's the most beautiful thing. Yeah, I mean, and I've had to process a lot of these conditioned ideas and beliefs as well, going through this process and writing the poems that I'm writing. Like, I'm channeling those. They are coming. They're not coming directly from me. It's coming from, it's so much, like it's being filtered through me type thing, but it's coming from them. It's a joint effort. And you know, this humor, this wit, this banter, this sensuality and pleasure, God, we've lost so much of that beauty and joy in ourselves, in our natural natures of just loving ourselves, loving our bodies, our minds, our hearts, and expressing that openly and cheekily and you know, authentically, you know, not in a disrespectful way, but when two people are wanting to banter and flirt and, you know, express their appreciation and wit and attraction, or you know, and just expose. I'm getting expose yourselves, expose your natural nature and the beauty of your self and your sensuality in a pure and authentic way. It comes from a place of respect and reverence for beauty and love and self and everything that we are. You know, that's what it is, and should not be degraded. When it is a pure expression of this, it is pure. It is the pure expression of beauty, passion, joy, love, attraction. Like to be attracted to something, to have something turn you on, you know, like in such a heart-mind coherence, authentic way, that lights you up. That flicks your switch like nothing else. And that is a treasure. That is fuck, I mean, can you remember when you were in high school and you first started like flirting? Like how fucking exciting it was? And like your whole body was humming with energy, excitement, and literally like you were glowing. Like we can feel like that for life and ourselves and everything, like all the time, or you know, a lot. For so many things in our lives. It's passion for something that turns you on, not just sexually, but the passion, it turns you on, your sacral, like you're interested in it to the point where you freaking could talk about it for hours, and it fires you up and it gets you thinking and feeling and so excited and passionate, and you just want to tell everyone about it, you want to do it all the time. It makes you more you. The more you tap into that, the more you comes back to you, the more you start expressing, the more you start finding. Passion, joy is your magnet to a happy life. And yeah, a lot of the time we have to get ourselves out of the quicksand in order to go find it, but this is what is the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. This is the pirate's treasure that you find if you get out of the quicksand, and you know what I mean. It is the reward at the end of that hard journey. It is all worth it, and like feeling good, your passion, your joy, being you being happy. You just gotta follow your happy bone. What makes you happy? With me, like, this is what got me to where I am, like, that I wasn't happy where I was, like, doing what I was doing, and being creative, making things, was my happy place. That's what I was passionate about. That's what I could literally do for 20 hours a day, is like make stuff. I just get lost in it. The time flies. And I'm coming up with ideas after ideas. All I want to do is create and come up with more ideas to create. I can literally do it forever happily. That is my pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and that was my guiding light. Because when I first started getting creative again, when I first started getting in touch with myself, when I was like, I just started microdosing, and my creativity, like, I got in touch with myself after so many years of being apart from myself, and it gave me this access to me again, and my joy, like what I was attracted to. And I started getting creative again at that point when I started microdosing, and the joy realized that I was born to create. I was born to create every day. And not doing that was killing me. And, you know, metaphorically or eventually probably in reality, you know, these things happen, but it was just my guiding light, my magnet. It was just like, I could do this or this, and, you know, from doing this constantly all the time and just being used to it, struggling, unhappy, but used to it, to adding in a bit of this, oh my God, it was so much better. And it was just like I could not go back. And it was just this turning. My magnet pulled me to my direction. And, you know, this was a process of a few years that I eventually fully got out of that. And, you know, the turn is still happening to where my final kind of position is, because I am trying so many different things like this, and never thought that I would do this. But I'm also doing art every day as well, you know, so my creative kind of guiding light is kind of just like, well, you know, it's all here. Where are we going? And I'm trying so many different things, but so happy in doing that. I don't know where it's going to lead me, but I am following my magnet now, and to the point where what was over here is now literally behind me. You know, and leaving all that, you know, that's 40 years of life, which I have turned away from. And that's not easily done. You know, that in itself is processing a lot of stuff in order to move yourself away from it and happily move away from it. Like, well, I happily move away from it, but emotionally, like, there's so many ties and guilt and programming around that's the only thing that we're allowed to do or meant to do, or, you know what I mean? But this is where my bliss is, and that is my life. It's my life, and I'm never going back to doing what I was taught that a responsible member of society does, and that's that. My life is for me, and the best benefit society has from me is me being me, because that's when all my unique natured gifts can fully be expressed and shared. And that is the purpose of us all, because we all have unique gifts to share. So even though we've been taught that that's not the case, that is the case. And so that's what keeps me going, because I do know now, and that is my belief, that what is best for society is me being the real me, following my passions, expressing that and sharing that. That is what is best for society and me, and it is a win-win scenario. And that is what I truly believe. And I know it's not exactly that simple for everyone and the way society currently works and all that, but I truly believe that this is what we're moving to, and things will naturally evolve and develop, that this is the mindset that we're moving to, that what's best for everyone, productivity, emotionally, health-wise. I haven't been sick a day since I left work. I haven't been sick a day. Health-wise, emotion-wise, gift-wise, like sharing knowledge, receiving knowledge. Like, I've had a freaking spiritual awakening since I've done it. And I'm receiving information. You know, this is how we make some really big changes that are for the best. There is nothing. I don't have any doubts in my mind that I've made a mistake. Everything is pointing, all the guidance, everything that's happened, even though it's been difficult. All the signposts say that yes, this is the right way. Well done. Well done for doing it. And now share it with others so they can do it too, because this is the right way. A happy, productive, gifted, connected society. A happy, healthy society. Connected. Receiving freaking beautiful, spiritual, heartfelt, and technology information to make this world a better place for me and you. But you know, when it comes down to it, we are all better people when we're happy. So what makes you happy? What do you want out of life? It's to be happy. What makes you happy? And, you know, that's the crux of the matter. What fires you up? And, you know, it's not about material goods. What fucking gets you going? What are you passionate about? What could you do all day long? What could you do all day long? And, you know, actually get annoyed when something else takes you away from it. Yeah, this one's gone on for a while. I mean, this is like, you know, I'm really passionate about this because I think, you know, tapping into that dormant creativity that we all have. Humans are naturally creative beings, and creativity is across the board. Like, it's not just the arts, it is science, it is technology, it is architecture, it is freaking society, you know, politics, like how society is run, and psychology. We are creative beings. So find your creative outlet. I mean, there is so many different pathways, but you know, finding yours. And you know, to be honest, like with me, I am interested in so many different things, and I'm learning to not limit myself. So if you're interested in many things, try it all. Don't tell yourself that you have to just do one, because if you start doing that, then you've started quicksanding yourself. So don't leg shackle yourself by only saying that you've got to choose one. Like, if you're someone that is interested in many, allow yourself to flow with whatever your joy is pulling you towards at that time. Like, from day to day to day, I go from one thing to another. And I've had to process that. I've had to accept that that's the way I work. And it's not easy because that's not what we've been brought up to believe is okay to, do. But I, even though it hasn't paid off financially for me yet, or anything, what I'm getting out of it by allowing me to be me for the first time in my life, like truly, it is a daily process of putting old patterns behind me, of judging myself, of what I'm meant to be doing today. But the freedom, it does take like a lot of strength and commitment to self and your mission of full autonomy and self-sovereignty. And like, I'm so passionate about this idea that I am training myself on a daily basis to allow me to be myself, whatever that is each day. It sounds ridiculous that we have to do that, but that is the case. We've been programmed to be a certain way, and to break free, there's little freaking claws hanging on to you that are so sneaky, and you find new ones each day that are not your beliefs. They've been instilled. And so this is why it's a daily process for me to teach myself freedom to be me. And I will continue to do so until I feel completely free. And I have no doubt that at that point, I'll realize that, there'll be this moment that I'll realize that, at that time, I would have done so many things that I've always wanted to do, and I'd be successful at it because I'm loving doing it every day. And even though it's been a struggle, daily struggle to free myself to get to that point, but by the time I'm at that point, I'll be successfully doing what I love doing every day. And that's the journey. That is the journey. And I can't tell you right now what I'll be doing at that point, because I'm allowing myself to have the journey to get to that point without knowing what it looks like. Because I'm learning to be me. I'm learning what I love to do. And I'm trying it all. Whatever I'm interested in, I'm trying. I'm following that magnet. I'm following the magnet, and at some point there'll be nothing sucking on me anymore. I'll be freely flying, doing what I was always meant to do. My joy, my pure joy. I'll be like fully locked into my magnet at this point. You know, and at that point, I'll be a truly successful, self-sovereign, creative creature. You know, and you know, I feel like I'm close, hey, because it is getting that much easier each day to choose me. I notice all the guilt, shame, all the old toxic quicksand patterns, but each day I walk on past them and go create something. Some days it is not easy to walk past that guilt, shame, blame, self-doubt, self-judgment, comparisons, you know, all that stuff. But you know, you do it enough, you kind of get used to walking past it, and then you get stuck into doing something you love and you're living your life and it feels great, and it's so worth it at that point. And you know, even today I had a kind of I had some down shitty moments, and I you know, continually remind myself, you've been fucking doing your own art, doing something you love, swimming in the pool. How fucking lucky are you? You're literally living the life that you've wanted to live for years and years and years. So what the fuck are you complaining about? You know? There's levels to it, you know? Like I'm doing it, but I haven't left the quicksand behind yet. So it's this process, and so I'm still learning to leave the quicksand behind. Like, why? I don't know why I'm still holding on to it, but it's, you know, it's 40 years of ingrained programming. So you got to kind of go easy on yourself a little bit. Yeah. But, you know, I've said this before, but, you know, like, my wish is just for everyone to be doing what they would love to be doing every day. Like I'm doing. Like to have the freedom to wake up when they want to wake up, and basically to choose each day, like, what do I feel like doing today? What is my passion today? Like, responding to their life by what they're feeling on the inside. You know, some days I research stuff and get stuck into the whole, like, spirituality research. Some days I just do random creative stuff. Some days I do gardening, creative, like stuff in the garden. So many different creative things that I try, and it's all winging it. It's like from day to day, moment to moment, what draws my attention, and that's when I get the most out of myself, and it's so beautiful. I don't make myself do anything anymore purely to try and get an outcome. I do it out of interest and experimentation and just the joy of doing it. And that is a beautiful experience. You know, I'm doing it because I choose to do it, because I'm drawn to do it, because I want to do it so much. And the days aren't long enough. And that's what I want for everyone. I wish everyone could feel that. And that's why I'm so passionate about doing this and talking. Like, you know, sharing my experience in the hope that others will get something from it. Yeah. I was going to draw lots of cards, but I've just been talking the entire time. Anyways, yeah, I mean, I hope that resonates with someone, anyone. I mean, even if I can just, you know, assist one person on their journey, because freedom is absolutely priceless. Yeah. You're feeling happy with yourself, feeling joy in your own life, and feeling the love and connection with your, you know, if you get to that point, is it's really, it's just priceless. Or you can give to yourself, you know, break free from the quicksand. Freedom is an absolute treasure to fight for. Okay, I'll sign off.